What's up, guys? Welcome back to Simply FPL, and it's that time of the week where we go through the Gameweek 7 team reveal. After last week, you're not going to hear me say how amazing my team is or how great the fixtures look, but do keep an eye on the fixtures on this team. As you're probably all aware by now, last week, one of the worst weeks I've ever had in any year of fantasy football, so we're definitely not looking to continue that. So let's hop straight into it, shall we? Oh, before we do, actually, don't forget that there's a Friday night fixture again this week. I've seen loads of people on Twitter didn't realise the Friday night fixture was Aston Villa Leeds this week, and a lot of them didn't necessarily make the changes in time. Also, if you want to laugh or if you want to feel bad for someone, go search on Twitter or find the guy that was currently 8th in the world. He made 56 points worth of changes and he had his wildcard left, so I assume he was meaning to go in and use his wildcard, and he obviously forgot, so he finished that week on -4 points after all of his changes. So he's definitely not 8th anymore. I think he moved down to about 4,000th, which is still pretty impressive in itself that he's still ahead of me and most other people. So yeah, go check that out for a laugh. Moving on to the team, yeah? Here we are. So you'll notice that my one transfer this week is in defence. You'll also notice some interest in that I've doubled up on Chelsea. So we'll talk about the individual players and then we'll go into why I've done that. So Martinez, you're probably sick of me saying this. He's going nowhere to at least my next wild card. Southampton at home. Southampton have looked very good. They made Everton look terrible last week. Now Everton were not very good, so I suppose that helps. But yeah, Southampton look very good, and they definitely opened my eyes to potentially the idea of putting like a Che Adams in, or even a Kyle Walker-Peters, or just having some sort of Southampton asset, because they're quite cheap, and I've not seen a huge amount of them this season, but based on the game against Everton, they look really, really good. So look, I'm not guaranteeing a clean sheet from Martinez, but yeah, it's a green fixture, I guess. So yeah, we'll be hopeful. If we get a decent return there, we'll be chuffed. Trent Alexander-Arnold. So last week, I said in this exact video last week, it's make or break for Trent. If he doesn't get me a return, he's gone. The only reason he's still in my team is because Luca Digne got a red card, and there's just no way I'm taking a hit to take a Liverpool player out of my team playing at home to West Ham. So he gets to live another week in my team. Saying that, he did look quite good against Sheffield United. He had an assist chalked off being fractionally offside for the Salah goal. He was definitely a bit more further forward. He took a free kick as well, so maybe we can start to see Trent back to his best, back to last season Trent. But anyway, we'll give him another week anyway. Liverpool's fixtures are quite good moving forward, so look, he's going to go eventually, I think, but it's not this week. So our first of our only transfer and our first of our double Chelsea defence, Chilwell. So Luca Digne had to go. I made the transfer early, so I originally thought it was going to be a 3-match suspension. That was obviously reduced to 1. I'm not decided whether or not I would have kept him if it was just a 1-match suspension. Everton do have a few nice fixtures ahead before the fixtures turn for them. But I feel happy that Luca Digne's gone, 6.5 million, and Everton were just not keeping clean sheets. So Chilwell comes in. Probably been the most impressive fullback of the season so far in terms of fantasy football points. He just always looks like he's going to get attacking returns. I think he's the sort of player you've got in your team similar to like a Mo Salah, where you're watching the game and you're excited every time he has the ball because you think, he could get a goal or an assist at any point. So welcome to the team, Chilwell, and yeah, hopefully we get off to a good start against a Burnley team who look terrible. So yeah, confident of that one. So all the talk on Twitter or on the other YouTube channels is Saiss going to get taken out of the team? Is he not going to get taken out of the team? So like he's been one of Wolves' main defenders for the last year. So I don't imagine he's just going to be instantly taken out of the team. There's not really any information to say that's going to happen. Until it does happen, I'm probably not going to panic. Although Wolves' fixtures do get bad soon enough, so maybe he'll eventually get the chop. For the time being, I'm confident he's going to start against Crystal Palace. There's a chance that, again, Wolves have got a couple of players that could potentially move into a spot. Now, he moved to like the right centre-back role. Is that what happened there in the last game against Newcastle? I can barely remember, mainly because I turned the game off. But he was playing in a slightly different position, so he is versatile. Although it did mean that he got took off as a sub. So look, I weighed up the pros and cons this week. He has to get on the pitch based on who my subs could be. It was either between him or Podence playing, and I think there's just as much risk of Podence not getting a game as Sai. So I may as well try and get the clean sheet against the Crystal Palace team that, look, although Zaha had a worldie last week, they've not really looked that amazing the last few weeks going forward. Reece James, he did not play in last night's Champions League game, so I'm hoping that that's because he's rested. We're going to have our two wing-backs playing away to Burnley, and we're going to watch this game and be so excited that any moment one of the lads can get some points. So we're doubling up on Chelsea defence. They've kept 4 clean sheets out of 4 with Mendy and Thiago playing. So yeah, I'm kind of hopeful there. Like, there's not really much more to say there. Like, their defensive stats look really good since Thiago Silva and Mendy have been put in goals. So obviously Reece James and Chilwell will benefit from that, assuming they both get at least 60 minutes. So that's my defence, and not going to say it, but quietly confident. I just said it, so now we could be in a bit of trouble. But anyway, moving on to the midfield. James Rodriguez. Now, he's I'd say a bigger injury risk than he was last week. So I think we all knew that Carlo wasn't completely messing about, because if you watch the game 2 weeks ago against who was the game 2 weeks ago against Liverpool. By the end of it, he was limping around. He wanted to be brought off, but there was no subs to bring him off for. So you knew he had some sort of injury doubt. And then last week against Southampton, he was, like, you could see he was crocked. So yeah, I won't be surprised if he doesn't play. So at least I've got a sub on the bench and come on for him. But if he does play, Newcastle, one of the worst teams in the league to watch, and certainly they've not been that great the last few weeks. I'm hopeful we can get some points. Now, obviously, the big risk with Everton is we're missing Coleman, Richarlison, Luca Digne, Gomez. There's at least 4 of the main starting 11, and you see like lads like Iwobi, like, they shouldn't be playing championship football. It's unbelievable how these lads are getting games. So I assume come the summer, Carlo would have shipped off all these lads. But for now, Everton fans and fantasy football fans just have to kind of watch from behind the sofa. I don't know what my opinion on Everton is this week, but sure, when Rodriguez is in my 15, he's obviously going to be getting a game. So Ross Barkley, last week was a bit disappointing because, like, I put him in at home to Leeds thinking he's going to get a really good game and potentially get some attacking returns. Leeds killed Aston Villa and he didn't look. He had like one really rubbish shot. He wasn't really involved that much. But again, he's only a 5.9 million. Has he gone to 6 million now? Midfielder. So home to Southampton. We're hopeful. I'm still hopeful that Barkley over the next 7 or 8 weeks, while Villa's fixtures are relatively safe, is going to get me enough returns to make a £6 million midfielder worth having. So Mo Salah, going to be my captain again this week. I think, as I said since the first video on this channel, if in doubt, captain Salah. And ahh'd about captaining a Tottenham player, but look, Salah playing home to West Ham. West Ham are probably without Mikel Antonio, who we'll talk about soon. He blanked last week, but he put the ball in the net. He had a couple of really good chances. I'm never gonna bandwagon the idea of Mo Salah not being a captain choice most weeks. So he's my captain this week, and hopefully we get back to winning ways, because last week was actually the first captain blank I've had, so I'm not looking forward to continuing that trend. So Son, I always assumed when I put him in 2 weeks ago that I'd be shipping him out after the City game when Tottenham's fixtures turn. I actually think I'm changing my mind on that. I just think the price I got him in at, which was 8.9 million, I'm never going to find a midfielder that's that price that can get me the returns that Son can get. So I actually beginning to come around to the idea that he could be a season keeper. So he's at home to Brighton Hove Albion. I don't see how anyone could think he's not going to get a return with Harry Kane as well. So yeah, I was thinking they might get rid of him in a couple of weeks, but again, as we'll discuss in a few moments, I think he could be one for the long haul, just looking at the way money is being distributed around teams and how there's such a lack of really big priced options at the moment. So that's the midfield, and as you can see, we're playing 4-4-F-2. That's one for the Mike Bassett fans. So the strikers. Lewin, Lewandowski. Sure, I've already summed it up in the James Rodriguez speech, right? Didn't have a great game. Barely got a touch in the last game against Southampton. I'm more hopeful that he's going to get more touches against Newcastle. They're a slower team. They're just not going to put as much pressure on Everton as Southampton did. I think balls are going to be put in the box a lot more, seeing as though we're lacking a lot of our creative players due to injuries, suspensions. So I'm hopefully he'll be able to get a header. I actually think I might put a bet on Calvert-Lewin to score a header this weekend just based on that as well. So yeah, let's get back to scoring ways. I think it's absolutely laughable that people are considering getting rid of Calvert-Lewin based on one game against Southampton. He scored every single week before that. Like, what more do you want from a guy that cost 7 million? I think that's laughable. So, although I think the last few weeks or since day one saying he might be a season keeper, look, maybe that won't happen. Maybe I'll eventually sub him in for a cheaper striker to put funds elsewhere. But I'm definitely not bandwagoning on that thought. Like one bad game, like sure, you'd be making 6 or 7 subs a week if you're going with that logic. So yeah, let's get back at it to Newcastle, and we're not going to even assess the 2 Everton lads until their fixtures turn in a few weeks' time. Finally, Harry Kane, the talisman, the main guy in my team, I'd say. He just looks brilliant every week, right? He is dying to get the assist. The only reservation actually about that, he's not playing as high up as he usually does. He's usually the lead guy who drops back. Now he's like the 4th or 5th guy forward. Like last week he made a clearance off his own line. The week before he made a couple of really good defensive challenges. Like you definitely need to consider the fact that he might not be leading that line, and he might be more of an assist player than the goal poachers that you might have seen the last few seasons. So look, I'm still sticking with the idea that I'm getting rid of him after the City game. I'm either going to replace him with an Aguero, or we'll discuss that soon, maybe a cheaper striker to put the money elsewhere. But certainly for the next couple of weeks, he's going to be in my team, and I just need to expect that he's not going to be the guy sprinting onto balls for whatever reason. This is just not the setup that Mourinho's got at the moment. So we'll keep being happy with his assists. Hopefully he gets a couple of penalties before we ship him on too. So yeah, that's the starting 11. I think it's pretty much all green fixtures. The only risk in the whole team is that maybe certain players don't get the full 90. Our bench, we've got Podence, who he's a 60-minute player this season. Just something tells me that he might be rested this week due to the rotation, the way the rotation's been going. There's a chance that Adama Traore might start ahead of him. I've got nothing to base that opinion on other than it's just what I'm thinking. So yeah, I've left him on the bench for that very reason. But look, if Rodriguez doesn't start because of injury, or one of Saiss or James doesn't get on the pitch, then sure, we'll hope that Podence is on the pitch. Mitchell, so obviously he's playing away to Wolves. I wouldn't be confident of a clean sheet, but then again, Wolves haven't been banging in goals every week either. So look, he's not going to start in my team based on who's he going to take out of that team. But yeah, we're happy enough with the 2 guys we've got on the bench. Like, all you really want on your bench is a chance at some points, and we've got that chance. So yeah, that's the team. So just a couple of things. First of all, the squad value in the bank, 103.1 million. Now, there's some people who do fantasy football, even have fantasy football YouTube channels, that they don't really care too much about the squad value or how much is in the bank. They kind of favour just, look, pick your players late on so you don't risk buying players that you then need to change before the game week, and the value doesn't really take a hit that much. So I don't really subscribe to that. I generally make my transfers a little earlier, and every now and then it'll bite you, but it's so rare. Certainly if you're picking players that they start most weeks, they're not the most injury prone. So yeah, my squad value's right up there, and all that's going to allow me to do is, in a month, 2 months, 3 months time, when other fantasy football managers are struggling to get certain players in because they've maybe got 100, 101 million, if I've got 104, 105 million in the bank, although you might lose some selling the players that have gone up in value, it just allows you to have a bit more flexibility. So yeah, so it's worth pointing out that my squad value continues to rise. So yeah, that's all I've got to say on that. Looking at my plans for the next few weeks. So my main plan, and I've said it since probably game week 3, Antonio in for game week 8 and 9, and then get rid of any Tottenham assets for City assets in game week 10. Antonio, now he's injured. It's still not been mentioned how long he's out for, but like strong rumors coming out of the West Ham camp that he could be out for 6, 7, 8 weeks, which is a disaster for West Ham, but also for my team, because a lot of my ideas around moving players around and my setup in 3, 4 weeks onwards time revolved around the idea of taking Harry Kane out and putting Antonio in, banking that extra 4 million and being delighted to have Antonio because of the fixtures. So Antonio was almost going to be my secret weapon, and it looks like that might be off the cards now. So I'm keeping a keen eye. I'm Googling West Ham injury news constantly. So, yeah, the second we find out about that, we can make a better plan, and we might even make a video just on my next 4 to 6 week plan, because it's completely going to have to change just based on that injury. Similarly with the City lads, so Aguero's now potentially injured for 6 weeks as well. He's just injury prone, right? He's always been that way, certainly for the last few seasons. So I'm not giving up on City. They've got some really good fixtures coming up after the Tottenham game. I just think, like, I'm toying with so many ideas, like a City defender, a Mahrez and a Foden. So trebling up on them. Could have a City defender and a Sterling. There's a few different options. So yeah, I'm gonna have to continue to toy about with that. Now, again, luckily I've already made my transfer this week, so it's out of my hands this week. But as of next week, when I have to seriously make some judgment calls on the plan, because as you probably know by now, I don't just get to a Friday night and decide on a random transfer who might do well that week. I'm making my plans several weeks in advance, running all sorts of different ideas to make sure budgets match and stuff like that. So yeah, these sort of injuries, they really throw a spanner into the works. Midfield that I'm thinking of at the moment, I really think midfield, looking at the injuries to Aguero and Antonio, the two lads that were going to lead my strikers, I'm now toying with the idea of having 4 really good midfielders, a Foden or a Podence. It'll probably be a Foden, right? And 2 budget strikers with the lap just sat there not doing anything, and then the best 3 or 4 defenders I can get, which probably wouldn't include Trent Alexander-Arnold due to the price, right? So the 4 midfielders I'm kind of thinking that could be going forward, Son and Salah, kind of nailed, and then we probably replace Barkley and James Rodriguez with Sterling and Rashford. Now, I think Rashford at 9.5 million, he's got potential. The biggest problem with Rashford at 9.5 million, not going to be on pens unless something really crazy happens. He's also playing for Manchester United. In the league this season, they're not looking good, and they're not looking good, and I just don't see any out for them in the league. Like, it's just a bit of a mess for them at the moment. And if you're spending 9.5 million on a midfielder, you want him to be potentially banging in returns for you every week. Like, we're comparing him to Son, right? Like, we're having Rashford in the team, we're comparing him to Son. Same price, if not more expensive, because obviously Son started out at 9. You need him to get the same or more returns. And is that going to happen? Probably not. But I'm still considering it, mainly due to the fact that he's such a good player. He got himself a hat-trick last night, coming on as a sub. And yeah, confidence has to be high, and I kind of think he's the real leader in that team. So yeah, that's my current thinking at the moment. In terms of the strikers, we'd be getting rid of probably Calvert-Lewin and Kane, potentially with this idea. A Morpay, a Che Adams, even I can't say it, Bamford may be considered. Yeah, we'll consider anything right now with the cheap strikers, right? So Leeds fixtures do get quite good in several weeks' time. I've not got it exactly memorised, but Bamford could be a play at the price. So I don't think he's that great. His XG suggests that he's drastically overperforming. But look, for budget reasons and the fact they've got good fixtures, it may be something I have to do, but it won't be because I think he's like the next Sergio Aguero in the Premier League. So yeah, we'll probably have to take a hit or two for that as well. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled on my team, because we're going to have some interesting discussions with myself and you guys about what it is we're going to do with this. And again, it might hopefully help you come up with ideas of the best way to kind of just help your team get a little bit better, increase the amount of points you're getting. So yeah, that's really that for this week. Because there's a Friday night fixture, there won't be a video tomorrow unless something really crazy happens, like when De Bruyne got injured. And we'll see you after the weekend. One thing, just if you have watched to this point, really appreciate it, sitting through 20 minutes of me talking again. And we're almost at 500 subscribers, I think 491, so great, just phenomenal. If you want to subscribe, that's great. If not, that's cool, just keep watching the content. So leave your comments in the chat. As you see in all previous videos, I don't respond to most of them. It's cool to see people engage. So best of luck to everyone, and we'll see you for a video probably Sunday night.